Hey guys, Ali here from Local Knowledge. Today I'm going to show you how to rig a set of outriggers for a double clip setup. What I've got here is my Taco outrigger kit, which I really recommend. It makes it so much easier rather than trying to source all these little bits and parts. It's all there, you don't even have to think about it. Comes with good solid clips. These are great, as well as the AFCOs. I like them both. And the cordage, everything you need, right down to the crimps and little swivels. This is really the way to go. So for the first step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my line through my riggers. And I'm going to run my long line first, which is the one that will go all the way to the tip of the outrigger. In this case, this is going to be for my starboard side. And I'm going to put this through the back roller. So I'm going to go through every roller until I reach the single roller at the tip. All right, I'm going to pull this back to here. Okay. So now, in this order, you're going to want to put your stopper on. This is just to keep the clip from getting tangled in the tip of the outrigger. It'll give you a nice, soft stop. Then I'm going to slide my crimp on the line, put a swivel on, come back around, leave a little loop in there, right? And just like any heavy leader, I'm going to size the right crimp to the right spot on my crimpers. I like to crimp once in the center and then two to the outside. What that does is it pushes the material of the crimp outward, puts a nice flare on it on the tip of the crimp. See that flare? It's not going to allow the line to chafe, and you get many years of service before the line breaks down on you. So, crimp's done. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and clip in my release clip. The top of the release clip has got the tension adjustment on it. Should go towards the top of the outrigger. Clip it in. There you go. That's one side. Now here's the important part. Now, in order to size this line correctly, I need to mount my snubber on the boat, which is this piece right here. And what the snubber does, it's essentially a tensioner that keeps tension on the outrigger line so they're not flopping around, and you can run two lines side by side without them wrapping up in each other. So I'm going to take the rigger back, I'm going to reinstall it, I'm going to put the install the snubber, and then I'm going to start messing with my actual final distance on the outrigger line. So Taco does something cool here. This is basically an interlocking system where you push the pole in all the way, you rotate it a quarter turn, it pops right out. You push it in all the way, pull it out, and now it's locked in there solid. And to ensure that it doesn't go anywhere, they give you this cool little stainless steel clamp. And once you got this little clamp here in place, it can't push in anymore. That thing's not going to come bouncing out while you're running offshore in bad weather or whatever. Really solid setup. Carbon fiber poles are super light. That eliminates a lot of the problems with old metal or fiberglass outriggers, because you've got so much leverage with this long pole hanging off the boat. It used to wreak havoc on your T-top, on your hardware, on your mounts. Now this stuff is a fraction of the weight, super strong. When they do their demos, they pull crazy dredges and all kinds of stuff off of here, and these things will give, but they will not break. It's really a nice breakthrough in the outrigger world. Now I've got my clip, my release clip, and the other end of the line, it's running straight down the outrigger pole. Next thing I need to do is install my snubber. I put a small piece of the same outrigger line crimped onto this cross pipe, and what that does is it keeps all the rigging for the outrigger up overhead, and you're not going to hit your head on it. You need to run up the rail and cast on a fish or something. No problem there at all. Then, since this is my long line, I'm going to thread it through the back wheel on the snubber. I'm going to put a crimp on, put my swivel on, going to snap the swivel onto the release clip. Now I need to size this line. And what I mean when I say size it is, I want to put tension on the line, but I don't want too much tension. So you could see the length of the snubber. I just want to make it a couple 3 inches longer, and that'll give me like a nice amount of tension that still has some give on this thing. So I'm thinking that feels about right, looks about right. I'm going to go ahead and cut my line down just a little bit. Going to feed it into the crimp, being careful not to let the position of the line change and not get any longer or shorter. Okay, tension still looks good. Got nice stretch in here with plenty more stretch to go. So it'll absorb some of that shock while we're bouncing around offshore. Okay, now once I got my length right where I want, you know the routine. Go ahead and crimp it. Just gonna trim that little tag off. Now with that done, I gotta pull this whole thing down. I gotta string up my second one, my second line, and then basically just rinse and repeat. Get it to size and make sure it's nice and snug. Throw my crimps in and we're gonna be done. Pointed the riggers back with them extended. I'm just gonna rig my second line. Now that I've got the second line strung, just basically gonna repeat what I did earlier. So now I got this back up into like fishing position, I'll call it. Put my stopper on. Put my crimp on. Then my swivel. Okay, right in that order. Clip it onto my release clip. Got my crimp on the line. Pull this through. So now I got my line through the top roller, through the swivel. I'm gonna pull it up close to where I want it. And if you watch your other line, if you pull it too tight, it's gonna droop. So you kinda wanna sync how tight they are to be about the same. Looks like we got that there, right? I'm gonna trim it even closer so I'm not messing with a bunch of extra line. I'm gonna grab my crimpers and I'm gonna kinda just double check everything. Make sure I like my tensions. If you look at both lines, they look nice and tight. One's not a lot tighter than the other or vice versa. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Check everything one last time. Make sure you're through the right eyelets. All that. You don't want to cut this thing and then end up coming up short because you had to make an adjustment. I'm going to go into the crimp. Just make my final trim here with the scissors up nice and tight. Looks pretty good. All the connections are clean. Everything lines up real well. I can easily send these guys out. Everything's moving nice and free. About once a season, I like to grease all the rollers on everything from there. Grease your mounts as well. Just keep everything in tip-top shape and it'll give you years of use. Hope this tip's helped you. If you like it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know in the comments what else you'd like to see. We're here pumping this stuff out for you, but you gotta tell us what you guys wanna learn about and we're happy to oblige. Thanks so much for watching.